Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. The seeds bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
We should have, it's like the Wu-Tang Clan. We should have like 7 mics. There we go, look at that. Okay, mics. Let's get Josh on an always mic. Okay, let's get Randy on an always mic. And let's get Sorcini on a mic here. And I think we're good. Okay, and then James, if you can help kind of flush folks out. And then, hey, did he get you taken care of for dinner? Are we good? We're good? Yes, thank you. It'll be great, fabulous. Okay, so, okay, I think we're ready to go. And then James, we want to get everybody into a seat. That's what we're trying to do, a little seating action. So you can be the rude guy, you can be the mean guy. You're from New Jersey, you're used to it, you'll be fine. Okay, we want to get everybody into a seat. Okay, we're moving into a seat here. Here we go. We're reseating, we're gathering, we're getting back, we're rumbling, we're bumbling, we're stumbling. If you're online watching right now, we're gathering everybody. We'll be starting in just a moment. We're getting ready to start in just a moment. Hey, by the way, did Eric Trump, did you guys see maybe a different side to him? Was that a little different than what you've seen? He's a very normal, non-elitist individual who I happen to call friend, and I really want you to know he's doing the best he can as a father, as a husband. Is he perfect? No one's perfect, but I really do believe that the principles he taught about managing a team and being high energy and his value proposition and how he prices things and how he organizes his day, those are all principles we can apply. So now without any further ado, we're gonna answer all the questions. We've got a great team of panelists, and here we go. So question number 1, coming in hot, what do you got?
What is merit-based pay, Clay? What is merit-based pay?
Do we have Jordan here and Danica? Jordan and Danica, are they here? Jordan and Danica? Okay. We're going to keep that question, so I'll answer it, but don't delete it. And if someone wrote it with a Sharpie, that'll be tough to delete anyway. Merit-based pay is where you pay people based upon what they got done and not based upon what they said they would get done. AKA acta non verba. That's a Latin concept, acta non verba. Watch what someone does, not what they say. Okay, so Randy Antrican, in your business, if you paid, you often work with subcontractors and great employees. If you paid them based upon the claims they made and not the actual pool they built or the actual pergola they installed or the fire pit they built, what would happen to your business very quickly if you didn't pay people based upon results?
Well,
Craig, his mic up, please. There you go, yeah.
Test. All right. Well, I'll review all the payroll, and over 21 years, I've never seen a subcontractor undercharge you. And so every single person that sends you a bill in it's either going to be what it's expected or more. And so every sub is set up with merit-based pay, and then we also have employees with merit-based pay as well.
Merit-based pay. The opposite of merit-based pay is paying people based upon what they say they're going to do. So Mr. Door Installer, Bruce, This would be for you. You know that very well. But if you let your employees bill you hourly for installing a door, they will take forever to install a door. So you have to say, employees, I'm going to pay you this much to install the door, not just a flat hourly infinite, because they're going to just keep billing you more and more and more. Hopefully that makes sense. And then again, Barrett, if you can make sure everyone finds a seat, that'd be awesome. And if everyone's not mad at you, you're not doing a good job. So if everyone's not mad at you, you're not doing a good job. Next question.
Our product is called Dex Kit. Do
Skip
we
it
need
for
a
right
trademark?
now. Skip that one for right now. Skip it, and we'll come right back to it. Yep.
How do you market music/digital material distribute today?
Okay, let's go to Pastor Dave. Okay, let's go with that. Dave, marketing music, you're learning about that right now with His Glory. You're learning that process. Why is it important for you? Why are you wanting to, at His Glory, release Christian music?
Well, it's a way to get to the youth, and music and praise music is so important. We see that through the Bible with King David, being able to play the harp in Psalms. It's a way to touch people through the Holy Spirit. So we don't want to do what everybody else does, so we're going in this slow, methodical, and finding the best way to do it.
Who here knows about Kim Clement? Okay, so one kind of a fun project right now I'm doing is I'm helping produce Kim Clement's posthumous first album. So that's a real thing I'm doing. So you say, well, how do you do it? Who asked that question? Who asked that question? Who asked that question? Because you want to get into music. Okay, and you're wanting to know, how do you market music? Is that the question, sir? Yeah, distribution. So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing with the Kim Clement project. Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing with Kim Clement, because I'm doing what I want to do with the Kim Clement project in a way that makes sense to me. So how many of you, by show of hands, know who Kim Clement was? Okay. How many of you know he was a phenomenal musician? And there's a lot of tracks that never made it out to the public, but they're great. They're instrumental songs. There's epic music. There's great songs. And so what we're doing is we're digitally reproducing everything so it's like high quality. So it's Kim, but Kim at the best. It's almost like Dolby THX kind of thing. Okay. Then we're saying, hey, if you buy, it's going to be approximately like $77, something like that. Okay, something like that. But if you buy, you'll get a vinyl shipped to you, right? So you get a vinyl, kind of something fun. You have like a nostalgic, like a tangible something. You get a $77, you get a tangible vinyl sent to you. You're supporting Kim Clement. You get a copy of his music, and that's a way to monetize that, if that makes any sense. Because otherwise, if you go on Spotify, there's a podcast called And the Writer Is. You should watch this. And the Writer Is. And the Writer Is. We'll put it up on YouTube there. And the Writer Is. Go to YouTube and look for And the Writer Is. It's a podcast entirely about how to monetize music. It's created by Ross Golan, who I've interviewed on my show. His podcast is called And the Writer Is. And then, Sean, if you look at the channel, I can show you which show to watch specifically, but he breaks down how it works. But the problem is, if a song if it goes viral and it has millions of views, a typical artist will net about 15 grand. I mean, it's radical now, So if you look at the interview 227 here with Ryan Tedder, interview 227 with Ryan Tedder, and then scroll down. Sean, click on the channel itself if you can, And the Writer Is. Okay, yeah, you're doing great. Okay, and then it's 227 with Ryan Tedder, and then click on, okay, and then keep going down, you're doing great. Keep going down. I want to scroll back up, Sean, and click on the word where it says videos. Scroll back up. Where it was videos. Yeah, right there. Okay, yeah. Okay, and then scroll down. So Ryan Tedder, 227. 227, Ryan Tedder, keep going. No, don't play it. Go back down. Okay, keep going. That's 227, Ryan Tedder. That's the one you want to watch. And then keep scrolling down. Keep going down slowly. There it is. It's the one, How Songwriters Really Get Paid and Why It's Broken, David Israelite. That's the podcast where he explains how it works. So for Kim Clement, we're going to sell a vinyl, and you'll get a vinyl, and then you get great music, and it supports the ministry, and it's something tangible. That's what we're doing. And I'm doing that because I reject almost every industrial complex that exists, and I do it my own way. But as far as how the industry works, that's the two podcasts. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Okay, next question.
What changes in the economy should young entrepreneurs prepare for?
Okay, can we go ahead and let's just erase them once we get them if we can. If the eraser works, hopefully it works here for us. Changes. What's happening right now, I'm going to go to Karime. I'm going to pick on you, Karime. Okay, and then I'm going to pick on David next, okay? So what happens is you're having more and more people that are excited about universal basic income. You heard about this? By show of hands, who's heard about this? So more and more people are coming to me at job interviews asking, hey, what ongoing education are you going to provide me? And I'm like, excuse me, I thought you were going to be providing labor in exchange for compensation. And they're going, hey, no, but what kind, how many of you heard these questions? So they're coming to a job and they're wanting you, what are you going to do for me? Instead of what am I going to do for you? So I would just say that economically, universal basic income is the biggest thing I don't know if you get ready for it, but it's something that's concerning. I just want to get your thoughts. Kareem, are you noticing, because you and your daughter work very hard, but have you started interviewing job candidates yet? Have you seen this?
Yes, so immediately we had 3 people we were looking at, and 2 of them did not work out. One of them was already taking days off, and her wrist hurt. Now, my daughter, who is 15 years old, was working, I mentioned, sometimes 70-hour work weeks over the summer, and we were like busting our butts, and she was out working these 18, 19, 21-year-olds.
So I'm gonna go to Dave on this, and I'm just trying to help you. I don't want to come across like an angry 45-year-old man, but I just being real with you, okay? When I worked, how many of you worked construction of any kind? So I got a job, I worked, construction, because I had no really skill, and they needed some guy who spoke English who could lift things, So I'm there in the hole pouring concrete. Who's ever poured concrete before? That's a lot of fun. And every day I'm forming, you're making forms. So they're concrete, you're making forms and you pour concrete in it. And so I'm in a hole 10 feet in the ground, 15 feet in the ground in Minnesota. And every day my hands hurt, right? And so my boss, Peter, who if he's watching this, every once in a while, I run into people that watch our show that I haven't met in 20 years. So Peter, if you're watching this, big shout out to you. But Peter used to say, how's everybody doing? And how many of you have worked construction before? Okay, your boss says, how are you guys doing? And he's yelling at us because he's up on a form, okay? So he's up 15 feet in the air, we're down in the hole. And he would say, words I can't say, but he would say, how are you holes doing today? And there's 45 of us down in the hole working, and we're like, good. He's like, that's great. And then about noon, he'd be like, hey, is it terrible down there? Because it seems hot, And we would go, yeah, it's terrible. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. You want to stay later? That's exciting. And then he would say, now, as far as for your orders today for lunch, Clay, what would you want? It was my first day at work, and I thought, where are we going? That's my question, And he's like, well, we are going to Arby's. And Clay would like to know Clay, what would you like at Arby's? And I'm like, roast beef with curly fries. Like, oh, the curly ones, the spicy or not spicy, Well, then he comes back and we all get a bag of McDonald's. All of us. Because it's construction and no one cares what you think and what you think. No one cares about your dietary restriction. Nobody cares because it's construction. And every day for days and weeks and months and years, he didn't care. Nobody cared. You know why? Because the goal was to what? Pour concrete. And I would come home from work with splinters and my wrist would hurt and my back would hurt, and my head would hurt, sunburns. And then he would say things like, Clay, how was your first day at work? I'm like, I'm pretty sore. He's like, that's great. Shut the hell up, And that's called work. And that's a great thing. You just heard Eric talk about keep your kids poor and busy. Now you got kids who are like, my wrists hurt. I have anxiety. What great way to stop anxiety is recognize you will die from starvation if you don't work. The Bible says if you don't work, you don't eat, right? So all I'm saying for you, the biggest change that I could see in the economy for you as business owners is you have to be very selective of hiring hardworking people, the kind of people that Eric hires, people that will get their job done, and you have to be more and more selective about that all the time. There are great people that exist, but you cannot hire people with perpetual anxiety who are overwhelmed by their day, who are worried about their sore wrists and their headaches, because you won't get anything done. So I would just say, get ready for the graduating class of 2026 because they are jackasses of the highest order. And that's my inspirational speech. Okay, so Dave, any thoughts? You got kids that are not jackasses. You've raised them to be tough and tense, but you're seeing it a little bit. What's your reaction to the workforce?
When they're talking about compensation, that is going to be a universal basic income is something that's coming to the planet because there's more people than there are jobs to do, and they got to find somewhere to put all these people that a lot of the classes of the world refer to as useless eaters. And they're working through this problem, and they're creating a class of useless eaters. And so is that good language? Am I on board with that? No, I'm just saying what's observable. When we have guys like Mike Rowe doing interviews at a Caterpillar factory in Illinois with jobs that start out at $85,000 a year plus benefits day one, and they have 11 openings and can't find anybody. and we're producing thousands of sociologists every year and archaeologists and people that you've never met in that field ever. You know, we're producing something, and we have a massive need over here, and we're producing lots of this over here. And so that is kind of an inevitability. How do you counteract that is by, you know, first of all, kind of educating or re-educating or going against the grain with your kids and your people. And also all of you in this room, and myself included, we've been going to great lengths, revamping skills, doing hard things, and looking like, okay, do I know how my HVAC works? Do I know how all these things, you know, operate in my life? And so we need these skills of like, am I a doer? Because there's gonna be an income stream coming to the large majority of people that'll be enough to keep them alive. That's the goal. Not enough to have anything. There's, you know, we have a lot of cultures, and you know, anybody that lived in Russia in the 80s and 90s, it's like, oh, you had enough to stay alive, but not enough to have anything. But there's always going to be a market, and there has been in every culture for people that do more than expected. They show up early and they create more value. We've lived in a third world country before as missionaries. There's always people doing well that understand seed time and harvest. And so when you're over delivering and you're kind of have an entrepreneurial edge and you're grabbing these things that Clay's talking about here, there's going to be a market to rise above that, and there's just going to be less competition. Do you think this, what's your name, Sophia? Do you think Sophia has any competition in the marketplace? No, there's nobody. She has no competition. So there's always going to be very little competition at the top. There's just going to be less in the future, but there'll be more people waiting for the crumbs.
Biggest issue, I'm telling you, I work with 160 business owners. I work with hundreds of business owners, and we meet with them every week. Doctors, dentists, lawyers, home builders. Their biggest issue is they can't find people for good paying jobs. And so you have to learn how to hire people. We'll teach you that process. So next question.
Yeah, Clay, I'd just like to add to that, though, that one of the biggest ones is the common misconception is the middle class getting squeezed, so people think that there's actually less money out there. But the broad money supply, the M2 money supply will indicate that there's actually more dollars out there, just fewer people have it. So what you really have to understand as an entrepreneur coming up is you have to understand the premium options in your industry, because that's where the growth opportunities lie.
Boom. I 100% agree with that. Next
question. How would you go about building / growing a community? What are the most important traits of a healthy community?
I don't have an answer for that question. I'll go with Stacy first, because I think you're doing it. And then your show, Flyover Conservatives, it's kind of a community. I mean, it's a group of people that when they meet you at the Elijah Streams events or our events or the Reawaken events, they know you, they share similar values. You've been building a community. I don't know if that was your goal, maybe it wasn't, but how are you building a community?
Well, I think they have to have a common goal, whatever that is. So our mandate that we got from the Lord in August of 2020 was that we have to wake up, speak up, and show up. It started with us initially. It was like, you know, the reason that the country is where it is today is because conservative Christians didn't say anything. They allowed the plumb line of Jesus to be taken out of all of the 7 spheres of influence, even in the church. And so he said, you've got to wake up to that first, and then you have to have the courage to speak up and show up. And so it became a mandate between David and I. And then when we started Flyover Conservatives, in every episode, it's something that we talk about. Every interview that we do, where they're bringing information, but then it's like, okay, so we know the problem. What can people do to make a difference in their own family, in their own community? Because obviously we know that local action can make a national impact. And so that's really what we focus on, and that's the community that we've created. It's linking arms and doing whatever we can, bringing our own time, talent, and treasure to make a difference in our own communities.
I'll just say too, in our business,
leave them with hope. Even when we talk to Clay, still leave them with hope.
Yeah.
That you develop a community of people with shared beliefs about Eleanor Roosevelt, you know, and you kind of come together on these things.
I always want to add to this too. I want to add this is important. You know, a culture is that which you allow to grow. That's what culture means, that which you allow to grow. And we have some awesome people that work for our businesses. Great people, you know, great people. You guys are great people. How many of you have met great people so far today or this weekend? So, I mean, you guys are a community, and we do that because, you know, we don't apologize for our values, and therefore, every once in a while, I talked to a guy this morning. It was a little interesting bathroom conversation. I never know how to talk to a man who says hello while I'm at the urinal, but he was not a fit, let's just say. Was not a fit for this particular event, you know, and the community was not the right community for him. You know, he thought this was going to be a thing, and it wasn't the thing, and so I was trying to be nice, but that's what the refund is, and that's what you do, and okay. So all I'm just saying is you want to be intentional about that which you're going to allow to grow. Don't be afraid to pull weeds. Next question, Josh.
You might have already answered this. How to get leads from a windows and siding business?
Okay, we got that. Okay, feel good about that, Bruce. Okay, and all the AI questions, I'm going to answer them all at one time in just a moment. Okay, so we'll skip all that for right now. Yep, go for it.
So then, Clay. Oh, I guess that's. Well, how are you changing your strategies not only to adapt to AI but to changing habits? Next.
Yeah, I'll pull it up in a second. Okay, next.
Okay. Isn't it unethical to get reviews from people who have not used your services?
It's a great question. Depends upon what business you're in. So let's do an example. If you're a dog trainer, you can get reviews from people because they've experienced what you're doing. So you can do like a demonstration booth at a trade show. So let's say you're a dog trainer. How many of you have ever seen a dog trainer who's very skilled who can get a dog to sit on a hydrant at perfect attention for like an hour? Have you ever seen this before? It's kind of impressive. People walk by the booth, they go, wow. Or in your case, you have massive pergolas and hot tubs and really cool architecture. I work with a lot of home builders that do model homes. They do tours. They do custom building. How many of you paint something? Any painters, any artists here? So I mean, just give you an example. If you go to Spotify and you, Sean, you can pull up Spotify and type in Lyrical Miracles. I've got about 70 songs I've put out there. And every once in a while, someone comes to me and they go, I listen to your albums every day. And I say, that's great. And then I know I'm going to make probably about 7 cents if they listen for the rest of their life every day on repeat. That's great. And so is a music thing, and someone leaves me a review, did they buy, how many of you did use Spotify? So if you go to Spotify, you find my Lyrical Miracles volume. Let's scroll down there, Sean, you'll find it. There, 1 and 2. And if you find it, and if you listen every day for the rest of your life, I might make like 7 cents. That's how the monetization model works there for that. So if you left me a review, is it ethical that you left me a review and all you've done is experienced my music and only paid me 7 cents? You probably paid me 1/10 of a cent if you've, or how many of you have written books on Amazon? This is crazy. I sell thousands and thousands of books. I've written 40-something books. And I might make, how many of you know, you make like $4 a book? Amazon makes more than I do. So I have people that come up to me and they say, I've read every one of your books. And I'm like, that's incredible. I probably made $20. Yes. But you know, again, all I can just say is if someone has experienced what you've done, that's the review. Another example, if you're a lawyer, this is Doug Mahaffey, one of the best attorneys out there. I've worked with Doug multiple times. There's Doug Mahaffey. Doug, woo, great attorney. I'm not kidding. I've paid that guy money. I like him. I don't resent the money I've paid him. I'm happy I paid him. Shalom, win-win, great guy, Doug Mahaffey. So when I paid, Doug to work with him, I wanted to know, is he legit? Is he credible? And so Phil Hotzenpiller said, that guy, Doug Mahaffey, great guy. When Pastor Phil recommends somebody, that is, in my mind, Phil Hotzenpiller, if he hasn't left you a Google review, he should do it, shouldn't he? It's almost an ethical thing at this point. So Phil could leave you a review because he's used your services, he likes you. But if you're a lawyer, getting reviews from people that know you and know your character, that's a big thing. So all I can say is you need to get reviews from people that have experienced what you do. Next.
My target audience are executive producers, agencies, and studios. I provide visuals and motion design. So they're thinking about how do they target that audience?
Dave, I'm gonna go to Dave real quick here. Dave, you guys at His Glory, you're building quite a network now. And then we'll go to Andrew Sorcini next. You're building a big network. And if someone wanted to reach you, who asked that question, by the way? Okay, so you do what, video and graphic design and a lot of art things, or what do you, did? Promotional design, do you do posters? Do you do banners, flyers, what all do you do? All that stuff. Keep going. What else do you do? Just yelling at us. Keep yelling. Something else. What else do you do? What else do you do? Awesome. So that right there is a solution. Dave, have you ever had a need for any of these solutions?
Absolutely.
Okay, so maybe we make a match, maybe we don't. Sometimes I see the sign that says, we'll work for food. The homeless guy, will work for food. And then I go like 7 feet over and I want to take his body over to the now hiring sign at the local fast food place and say, you two should meet, Okay, so I don't know. But if someone wanted to reach you today, this professional man who's working really hard, if someone like him wanted to reach you, how would they do it? I'm gonna ask the same question to the flyovers and the same question for Andrew. So if someone wanted to reach you, how would they do it?
You could send me an email at zion@hisglory.me.
And the principle I want to teach is it's called the Dream 100. You should write it down. Dream 100. Sir, I'm talking to you right there. Dream 100, okay? It's written by a guy named Chet Holmes. Chet Holmes, Chet Holmes. He wrote a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine. It has a red cover. He was taught personally by Charlie Munger, who was Warren Buffett's partner, The Ultimate Sales Machine. You got to read the book. There's a chapter in there called the Dream 100. Dream 100. So you make a list of your ideal and likely buyers, and you reach out to them until they cry, buy, or die. That is how the Reawaken America Tour came to be. I mean, God maybe ordained it or maybe put up with it or whatever that was. But I said, I really want to get in touch with Eric Trump. Well, I'm sure other people have had that thought. The difference is that once I lock on with a maniacal obsession, I will not stop until they cry, buy, or die. So Sean knows this. I have a big whiteboard in my office. Sean, type in Clay Clark whiteboard. So I made a whiteboard, and for some reason, Yahoo News said, Clay Clark's whiteboard is the center of the QAnon conspiracy movement, which I'm not a conspiracy. You click on images, yeah, that's my whiteboard. You click on images, you'll find it. And so that's my whiteboard. You can see it. And so I just made a list. Scroll up to the top there, Sean, you'll see it. Yeah, maybe it's not there. Maybe you got to click on the article. Okay. But anyway, so I made a big whiteboard of all the people I wanted to reach, who I did not know, and then I just reached out to them over and over and over and over and over until I hated myself. I'm not kidding. I got to a point where I'm like, man, I hate myself. I hate myself when I'm with myself. Man, and then you keep going and going and going. So again, Randy, your business, PMH, somebody wants to reach out to you. This guy does graphic design, does online marketing, whatever. If he wanted to reach you, your company, how would he reach you?
Best way is the website. You could also Google our Google map that has all our information, or if you're in Oklahoma, you can go to any of our 3 showrooms.
That's the whiteboard, man. There it is. Look at that. Now, I did the same thing for the wedding business. I made a list of every wedding vendor, and I'm going, I want all these vendors to refer every bride to me. And the red dot means I talked to them on the phone. I'll never forget when I was with President Trump showing him Kim Clement videos for the first time. We had a guy named JD. I think it's JD. Where's JD? There was a guy who actually worked with Kim Clement. Anyway, big goal of mine was to get the Kim Clement prophecies to President Trump. And I was with President Trump and General Flynn and my wife. We're like 4 feet apart, and I'm going, I finally have reached the center of the whiteboard. Okay, so Andrew Sorcini, if someone wants to reach you to sell something to you, and AKA these kinds of services, how would they reach you?
I think the website is the best example. I have people that reach out on the website offering me accounting services. Just this last week, Charisma Media, who's some outfit that I've never heard of, reached out to me through the website and said, hey, Andrew, I saw you on a podcast with Elijah Streams, and I'd like to talk to you and see if maybe there's a way that we can partner up. So I reached out, I looked at their website, I saw they're already working with Amanda Grace and some other people that I also work with. So I made the connection, and we're probably going to proceed with a partnership. I think that's the best way.
And I'm not a new ager, okay? I'm really into the Bible. I'm really into the Bible, but I'm just telling you, I make a big whiteboard. This is my step 1, okay? Get a whiteboard, and I make a list of everybody I want to work with. I want to see it to make it real to me so it doesn't drift into the junk drawer of life, so it does not drift into the junk drawer of life. And then I make a list, and Sean, your desk was by mine, so Sean, you're on the mic, I think, over there. You can comment.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when I rolled out the whiteboard?
I do, yeah. And I think you were like, hey, man, I need you to wipe this off. There was some crap on it at the time. So you wiped it off, and then you had pasted Trump's head there. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, just watch. Just watch. And then 2 years went by, and this is what we ended up with, this whiteboard you see.
And I wanted him to know that the models are false that said 2.2 million people would die from COVID, that the PCR tests are falsely calibrated to inflate the cases, that COVID is treatable using budesonide, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and inside the mRNA technology, that connects to crypto, which AKA is the mark of the beast. So that's what I wanted to tell him. And I did tell him, but it took me 2.5 years of harassing everyone to make that conversation happen. So, next question.
After this event, how will I know if it helped me?
I don't even know what that means. Who asked that question? I mean, I don't know what that means. All I know is that if you go to thrivetimeshow.com, I look at your success as the result of the conference, good or bad, pass or fail. So I want you to make more money as a direct result of this conference. That's what I look for. I'm not looking for epiphanies, enlightenments, good feelings. Maybe I find some of the best training is where you leave feeling bad. Like, I hate that guy. You know what? I'm going to show him, and then you're like, yeah, that was a good one. My favorite coaches are the ones that I hated. Did you ever have any good coaches that you hated growing up? Do you have any coaches, any sports coaches?
Well, I don't really remember any of my coaches.
Really?
Yeah. You're
Dave,
my only coach.
Okay, well, Dave, do you ever have a coach that was on you?
All the time. They used to say, hey, if I wasn't screaming Scarlet, then I wouldn't care. So they were always screaming.
Yeah, I mean, so I think, the point of this conference, whether it's irritate, motivate, agitate, whatever it is, it probably ends with an 8, I don't know. But I just want to make sure that you make more money as a result of this conference. I want to teach you how to grow your impact, grow your organization, grow your reach. Next question.
What is the definition of success?
Everyone's got their own. I'm going to pick on Sophia. For me, growing a business is the one purpose, is so that I can create the time freedom and financial freedom to do what I believe God wants me to do with this moment. That's what I believe success is to me. So, Eric and I, it was kind of a funny story. He had said, do you want to get some $1 million bacon? I don't know what who's ever had $1 million bacon? I had never had it before. Dave, can you describe $1 million bacon? Can you describe what that is? Maybe, Andrew, you want to pass the mic real quick? Can you explain what this is? What's $1 million bacon?
Well, in Kansas City, we don't have mountains or beaches, and so mostly they smoke meat, cook meat, bake meat. It's called meat. There's no vegetarians in Kansas City. They're just really hungry, walk around angry, but you got to eat meat. And so there's 2 or 3 places that compete on the $1 million bacon train, and it's a thick slab of underbelly, thick cut. Usually there's a little bit of maple syrup kind of tied to it. So it's got this like savory, smoky with a little bit of sweet that's kind of like feels like. If you close your eyes and eat it, it's like you're a little kid sitting on your grandma's lap and she's holding you and everything's good. It's kind of like that.
To me, that's success, eating $1 million bacon with Eric talking about the book of Daniel. How many of you read the book of Daniel? How many of you know the book of Daniel fits in with the book of Revelation? Who knows that? The book of Daniel and the book of Revelation fit together. Who did not know that? Book of Daniel, okay. So Daniel chapter 2 prophesied a time where the miry clay will be mixed with iron, man with machine, transhumanism. Who knows about that? Okay, so Daniel chapter 2 is also Revelation chapter 13. So I don't know about you, but to me, success was to have $1 million bacon while and Eric said, so what do you think's going on? And I'm like, well, Daniel chapter 2. And to me, that was success, is talking to him about Daniel chapter 2. And I remember when he turned to me, he's like, I don't hear this from other people. And I said, Eric, I'm on a mission from God to teach you about the Bible. And he's like, do you want some deviled eggs? I go, sure, yeah. And so that to me was success. Taking my son to Guitar Center and looking at gear, that's success. Hitting on my wife every single day, trying to convince her to stay married to me for another week, that's success. That's a move. But success is having the financial capacity to have the time freedom and financial freedom to do what you believe God's called you to do. Andrew, I want to go to,
Can I just point out something that's amazing about you?
Sure.
You just tied in bacon with like, a Jewish end times prophet.
It's the weave.
That's a lot of people can't make that leap between bacon and Daniel, a Jewish prophet. Like that doesn't normally go together, but you made it work.
What? Now, so Sophia, I want to get your thoughts. What's success like for you? And I want to go to Andrew. What's success like for you? What does it mean to you, success?
Success, it's like having a business that gets really successful, and in that sense, it grows enough money for you to do more experiences and help more people and grow your family with the business. I would say that's success.
The first day I was successful, in my opinion, I was like 22. I called my dad up. Boop, 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 boop. Dad, may he rest in peace, by the way. He died of Lou Gehrig's disease. I don't wish that on anybody. But I called my dad. Dad, what's up? He's in Minnesota. Hey, I'm going to hire you today. And we grew up poor, so I'm like, you want to come work for me? He's like, what would I do? Accounting. He's like, I've never done accounting. I'm like, that's awesome. Let's do it. So hiring my dad was success. Working with my son is success. So everyone has different definitions. But Andrew Sorcini, third baseline, Dodgers game, is that success or what's success for you?
That is success for sure. But for me, it was to be able to have the financial freedom in business and in life to where if one mistake isn't going to put me out on the street. And with my business, it was like at first I started with people giving me credit. I would wait for people to pay me for metal, and then I would use their money to buy the metal with and then ship it back out. I mean, basically, I didn't have the reserves. Once I had the reserves, I had the freedom to go out and search for good deals and be able to control my own market. To me, that was a big deal.
Also success, Andrew convinced a severely vision impaired woman to marry him. She can't see him. That's his wife right there. That's Andrew's wife, Miss Sorcini. There she is. So
That's a true freedom.
There it is. Okay. Next question.
Do the videos need to be testimonials for Vism?
No. I'm going to show you an example of videos real quick. I'll just fire through them. You just need to have videos because Google, okay, or artificial intelligence and or Grok. By the way, how many of you know that BlackRock, who knows what BlackRock was? How many of you know they started the first AI for commercial use in 1999? Who knows about this? Called Aladdin. And it now controls 88% of the S&P as of January 1st of last year. So I'm sure it's up to 91, 92% now. So the S&P has been controlled by an AI since 1999. Hello. Okay, so, but what happens is Google is going to pull, Grok is going to pull, ChatGPT, it's going to pull from videos, images, search engines, more Google reviews, and it's going to recommend something to somebody. And people are turning their authority from their brain to AI. They're shifting their authority from their mind to an artificial intelligence. That's what they're doing. So they're going, since looking on Google would require me to use my brain, Grok, can you do it for me? And Grok goes, yeah. Use Randy Ancherkin. He's the best. And how did you get that? Well, it's because he has the most reviews, the most videos, the most images. So, hey, Randy, when we go to pmhokc.com, you have examples of your work you're always putting out. Why do you put out examples of your work at pmhokc.com?
Well, we're selling to the high-end customer, and they want to see what you're doing. And that's really why we did our showrooms. Our showrooms are not really retail stores. They're kind of walk-in vignettes that you can experience everything in person. We do trade shows like that. All of that is designed around making the customer feel more comfortable with their purchase. So the images, everything starts with the Google search, and they're looking at your work. They're vetting you for your Google reviews. It all just kind of ties into their buying experience.
But if I was cleaning houses, I would say, hey, my name's Clay Clark. Today we're going to clean an unbelievable house. I'm super excited to show it to you. And I wouldn't reveal their address. I wouldn't, compromise somebody's, privacy. But I would have a video that highlights our team cleaning or something. Or if I was an automotive repair shop, I would show, today we're going to fix a yada yada engine or whatever. Next question.
Are descriptions important on images?
Yeah, how you title the images matters, okay? So you need to rename the image. So if you took a photo today of me or I took one of you, your phone will index it, right? It has a geotag usually, and it will say, and if you hit save on the photo, it'll be like photo what? A417-3-2-9, something easy to remember. And you have to rename it so you can find it later. Make sense? So you'd have to rename your images so that way you can find things. Does that make sense? So if you do a search for Bill Belichick's #1 fan, by the way, this is Bill Belichick before the new love interest, okay? So that's my little disclaimer, okay? So, but there was a time in my life where I wanted to be Bill Belichick's #1 fan, and so there it is. AI overview says there is no single officially designated #1 fan, but business coach Clay Clark has used the phrase to describe himself. And if you scroll down, you'll see more about this. And if you click on images, you'll see, and it's because I have obsessed with optimizing myself for that phrase. So much so I've been interviewed on multiple radio shows in the Northeast about my love of Bill Belichick. There's a woman, though, who has a Bill Belichick tattoo on her leg, and that's just dirty. So anyway, so that's how that works. See, how you name it doesn't matter. Next question.
And it's a keyword, so what do you want to be searched for is what you named that photo. It's not just a random, like, your business name.
Does that make sense, what he just said? Okay, next question. Great clarifier. Yep.
Clay, they're starting a not-for-profit for mental health retreats for exploited youth. What is
this is a not-for-profit for mental health. This is a conference. Is like, wow, don't do what he's doing. That's a mental... No, but I think when I'm going to go to Dave on the nonprofit thing. I just want to be clear on this. I'll go to Dave on the nonprofit thing. When you start a nonprofit, I'm just making sure we're getting this idea. There's a certain level of honesty and integrity you have to have with yourself as to why you're doing it that's beyond what the government classifies as a nonprofit. Does that make sense? So I know people that have a nonprofit, but they're very profitable. How many of you have you seen this phenomenon before? I've also seen people that are doing a nonprofit for the right reasons. So step one, you want to be doing it for the right reasons. Step number two, Doug, can you wave to everybody? Wave everybody right there. It's Doug. Doug, do you set up nonprofits for people? Okay, so you want to work with a credible attorney. That would be Mahaffey Law. Mahaffey Law, that's the website. Sean, pull it up there, mahaffeylaw.com. Great team, Mahaffey Law. That's Doug and his team. Another opportunity for you, I like to give you two options. It's wintersking.com, wintersking.com. And they'll help you set up the nonprofit. But before you do it, I just want to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. But Dave, what do you want your thoughts on nonprofits or ministries or just...
Well, you got to be careful with it. When we did it, we were targeted by the Obama administration. The IRS targeted us. You heard about the Tea Party, but they were also going after Christian nonprofits, and we were one of them. And if it wasn't for the exposure of Lois Lerner, we wouldn't have got approved. So we're a 501c3, which was an act of God, literally, and a 508. And then we also have LLCs, because when they're coming after you, it gets pretty complicated. And you got to make sure legally you're covered on every avenue.
So I've used the same law firm for 15 years, and so wintersking.com, I'm very happy with them. And for certain special situations related to the world we live in, I think Doug Mahaffey does an incredible job. And if I would have met Doug first, maybe I would say Doug is who I've used for years. But how many of you are loyal to somebody if they do a good job? That's me. So wintersking.com is who I use, and Mahaffey Law. I'm very happy to recommend both of them without reservation. And I don't get paid a commission to refer them, although I've asked. Okay, next question.
How can I connect with you to scale my business?
If you want to do that, that's James. James, are you back there? James? Okay, that's James. James, I met James at the Reawaken in Pennsylvania. He now is getting married. Are you getting married tomorrow, James, or when are you getting married? 2 weeks. He's getting married in 2 weeks. And James schedules all the 13-point assessments, and that's what I do. And just to be super clear, for anybody watching online or anybody here, we charge $1,700 a month for what we do, 1700. It's month to month, no contract, photo, video, web, search engine, all the things we do. We guide you down a proven path. And then we have scholarships for people in need, because when I worked at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV, my coach I hired, his name was Bruce. I'm not going to rip Bruce. Bruce is probably watching. But Bruce was $3,000 a month. 1-year contract, and if you ever called Bruce, you paid per call, per hour, per email, per conversation, and we're flat rate. I don't charge per call, per hour, per email, and Bruce was very helpful, but every time I would talk to Bruce, it would result in another bill, and then Bruce would say, we don't do video here, but I would recommend you hire a videographer, which would result in another $15,000 bill, and so we do all of those things in-house. And just you can schedule a consultation with James. That's what he does. Next question, yeah.
How do you balance a successful life with our faith and the current state of the world?
Well, I'll just say this. I do a really horrible job at this. I'm probably the worst. How many of you know we're only saved by the grace of God? I was just thinking this morning about what a crappy individual I am. And I'm not just saying that for self-deprecating applause. I mean that. I was just thinking this morning, my wife is awesome, and I'm only good at business. I'm really good. How many of you have seen a skilled pianist play the piano, and you're going, wow, you're good, but then they're like a crappy individual? I'm thinking to myself, I am really good at business, and that's about it. I don't ski. I don't go outside a lot, as you can tell. I'm kind of afraid of professional sporting events. We have box seats for professional hockey games, and I don't go because it would require going. I don't travel a lot because that would require traveling. I almost said no when invited to go to a beautiful resort in another country and I'm going, I am awful in so many areas. Skiing, we took my kids skiing this year. I'm afraid of heights, speed, mountains, and driving long distances, all the key components for skiing, But I did hang out in the ski lodge. And I'm just saying, so first off, let's just start. This is my 3-step plan for you. I want to get Randy's thought on this, okay? 3-step plan. One is recognize you and I are awful, wretched, filthy individuals that are only going to go through heaven through the grace of God. Just get that out of the way. That's step one, okay? And then step two, figure out what you're willing to fight for. So because of my completely unapologetic worldview, my children, I feel so bad. They're watching it right now. I'm not going to cry, but I'll probably cry in my vehicle alone today if I'm at a gas station somewhere where people can't see me. But my kids had to attend school outside of their class because I wouldn't allow them to wear a mask. So they couldn't go into class because I wouldn't wear a mask. And I don't know if that's clapping. I mean, it's more like... so they couldn't go to class. People mocked them, ridiculed them. They weren't allowed to be with other classmates. Then I wouldn't let them take mRNA modifying nanotechnology shots. And oh man, that created a problem. we didn't lock down. So it became a thing where it's like people at school, at a conservative Christian school, people are going, is that your dad? Because I kept going viral all the time for talking about Bill Gates on Newsmax and Epstein, and that's not a pro tip either, And so because of that, my kids really had to endure a lot. They really did. And because I grew up as a kid that stuttered, and I frankly do not care about what anyone thinks about anything at all ever, and I don't have a whole lot of empathy, I'm really good at business. But I didn't recognize how hard it would be for my kids to have that world. Does that make sense? Like, because I'm unapologetic, my kids had to go, and we're going through Captain Unapologetic's life here. Here we go. Teenager, can't go to class. That's exciting. Way to go. So I had to, so one, figure out you're not going to heaven without the grace of God. Two, figure out what you're willing to fight for. Like, really, really think about it. Really think about it. Like, what are you willing to fight for? And then three, recognize the key to helping the poor is to not become poor. And that's Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln once said that, true story. Abraham Lincoln said the key to helping the poor is to not become poor. So that's my pro tips. Now, Randy, you're building pergolas, hot tubs, you're a Christian. They also got kitty litter in the bathrooms in Oklahoma public schools. What's your reaction to the same question? You don't claim to be a faith leader, but what's your reaction? Balancing faith, business.
Well, I believe that you can have all of those things if you make your life intentional. And I'm just going to kind of go back to the calendar, because if you don't have a calendar, then life just gets away from you and it will control your life. You'll end up working all day long. You'll go home and you'll read books like Simon Sinek, Start With Why, and you'll think that you're just a bad parent or whatever. But in reality, if you put the stuff that you prioritize on your calendar, meaning like working out, date night, dinner with kids, movies, whatever it is, build everything in there and then put everything else around that. And what you'll find out is that you can have all of those things if you take control of your life.
Josh, I want to get your thoughts. You help clients in Canada and in America with their financing, their bookkeeping, the whole thing. So many times you see entrepreneurs that are not intentional. What advice would you have for somebody here who's trying to be intentional financially, but they also want to be a good family person? You have any pro tips on any thoughts?
You just have to look at like what the goals are of the entire family, right? Because sometimes they're a little bit competing. And I think one of the harsh realities is like you see some of these examples like these like perfect couples and they're both, working in the business, but you just need one person to be financially responsible. And so like the example I always use is like, put up your hand if you live in a country where you can start your own bank account without your spouse's permission. So put up your hand if you live in a country right now where you can start your own bank account without the spouse's permission.
People feel dirty answering this question.
So then I would challenge you saying, if you're failing financially, it's not your fault, it's not your spouse's fault, it's your fault, because you're totally in control of that scenario.
Boom. Next question. What do you got?
Next question is about banking, line of credit, and volatile cash flow. So they have a long-term relationship with Chase, and they want the perks of an easy line of credit renewal, but they want to avoid the personal guarantees so they can scale.
Okay, Andrew Sorcini, I'm going to talk to you about this. There are a lot of people that want to not personally guarantee something. So just to let you peel behind the curtains, look behind the curtain. I have a haircut chain. And I have, locations. In each location, we have a lease where I'm on the hook, whether we have any customers at all, for, we'll call it $5,000 a month average, coming in every month. That's my ongoing. And I had to personally guarantee that lease. I have to guarantee that if things go bad, I'm paying the lease. So you could say every month I start the month $21,000 in debt, roughly between all three locations, after utilities and all the obligations. And I have to personally guarantee that. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs that want to be the chicken at breakfast, follow this analogy, and not the pig, to quote my mentor, Dr. Zellner. And a pig gives their life for breakfast. They died so you could eat it, right? That's the pig, ham, got it? But a chicken can lay an egg. As an entrepreneur, you have to be all in or you lose. So there's not really a utopian situation where you can start a business without personally guaranteeing things. And then only when it gets to a certain size can you move to a place where you don't have to personally guarantee things. But Andrew, you see a lot of people that are very, very wealthy coming into your life. Any thoughts about personally guaranteeing loans, leases, houses, lines of credits. Any thoughts on that? Because you work with ultra wealthy people and very normal people.
Well, I think especially for when you're first starting out, you do have to go all in. Definitely do the personal guarantee. I mean, for me, I would get these emails from Wells Fargo that say that you qualify for a $100,000 line of credit. I'm like, this is great. This is exactly what I need. I apply and then they tell me no. And I'm like, you sent me the email saying that I qualified for it. So then I just found that I made personal connections with people in mutually beneficial relationships. So I would go to a wholesaler that would offer me, they'd offer like 10,000 1-ounce silver coins at a certain price over spot, like a really good deal. And I'd tell them like, hey, I'd love to get that, but I'm not in a position to be able to buy that right now. But I'll make you a little deal here. If you front me those 10,000 ounces, I can have it sold within a week, and I'll pay you within that week. And then if you don't follow up on that, then word spreads through the industry that you're somebody that doesn't do what you say, and then you're blackballed. So I went all in. That's what I had to do. And when I talk to other people, I find out people that buy gold from us are generally other successful people, and we do share stories about their business, and it's always all in.
And I'm only bringing up people on this stage that are longtime clients that I've worked with for a long time that I've known, because I don't want to give you charlatan advice. Charlatan is like fake advice. I don't want to give you get-rich-quick tips. These are real people, and hopefully you can see there's commonality. Those different industries, we're all dealing with the same things. Did you have a comment there before we do the next question?
Yeah, I mean, banks aren't in the business of issuing risky loans. So they're looking for the sure thing. So Clay's right about avoiding the personal guarantees. But some of the ways that you actually strengthen your application with the bank is actually having up-to-date reports. Having up-to-date reports that are clear, that are readable, and you have to understand how your company looks against your competitors.
Oh, preach that again real quick. Up-to-date what?
Up-to-date financial reports, because you have to, the bank wants to see how you look compared to your competitors, because your competitors, you're competing against them for the loans too. And if you're really serious, like really serious about making yourself a lower risk entity to the bank, you got to start thinking about how can you wind real estate into it, because you know, if you own the real estate from where the business exists, all of a sudden you're not just a giant unsecured creditor with the bank, right?
Kind of a funny story. My wife and I used to live here. Sean, will you look up our house back in the day? Look at, go to 91st and Elm, and maybe you can find our house. My wife and I used to live on one side of the road, and one day my wife was like, the house on the other side of the road, I'd like to buy that one. You know, and I go, yeah, there we go. We're almost to my old house. And zoom out, Sean, kind of zoom out a little bit. I always want to show you what I'm talking about. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, and zoom out a little more. I'm kind of lost, but we're going to get unlost soon. Back it up. That's 91st and Elm, Sean? Okay, head on out to Lynn Lane, maybe, on 91st. So you're going, we'll get there. Okay, I think we're getting there. Someone says, I have no idea what we're looking at right now. Sean, do this real quick. Do a search for 8900 South Lynn Lane, Google Maps. This is a house I used to live at, 8900 South Lynn Lane, Google Maps. Okay, and then get rid of all the other funk, and then Broken Arrow, and then Google Maps. I'm just trying to show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, Broken Arrow, pull it up. Okay, this was my old compound back in the day. That's it right there. So zoom in, Sean. Okay, and it was a house, and it kind of goes, yeah, there it is, there you go. So that was the house. And it was like a house on one side, right, and it was connected by a bridge, and then you had, look at all the vans. Okay, but then you had, so I had the house over here, and then I had my business connected to it. And I remember when my wife was saying, hey, we might want to look at buying the house. It was nice to have my credit and together and my finances, because I can just call up the mortgage lady and say, hey, I'd like to buy a house. And she says, sure. And then I'm not, I don't know, 30 minutes later, I can buy the house. It's not like a big, but when people don't have their numbers together, it's weird. So go down the street further, Sean. And go the other way, left, or going left, keep going, and keep going, keep going. And zoom out a little bit more, Sean. You're doing a great job. No one's doing a better job than you right now. Keep going, keep going, keep going, Sean, keep going. This is all within a mile, okay? This is how my brain works. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry my brain's not better. Keep going, Sean. You're almost there. You are doing a great job. And I wish I knew addresses, and you say, how do you own a property and not know the addresses? That's, if you have a lot of things you're involved in, you forget it. Who's forgot all the addresses? Okay, let's go left, keep going. Okay, now, Sean, now we're going up. Almost there. Stay on target. There it is. Okay, on the left side of the road, Sean, that house right there with the pool, that was the house. So I'm on the right side of the road. That's where I lived or had a property. And my wife goes, let's buy the house on the left side of the property. And I'm going, yeah. And what you do is you call the realtor, who's bought a house, and they go, are you pre-approved? And I go, I'm perpetually pre-approved. Yes. because I have it together, right? And I called the guy who owned the property, and I said, I would like to buy your house. He said, I don't want to sell you my house. I said, how much would it cost? And I bought the house, put it in the pool, and if you go left, Sean, you'll see it's 17 acres. It's all that stuff there, that's all that there. I bought it. It was a great deal. But if I didn't have my finances together, Dave, I want to go to Dave Whited on this. Dave, if you and Stacy don't have your finances together and you have a good opportunity that you two as a couple see and you don't have your finances together, what happens?
You miss it. Time goes by and it goes to somebody that's prepared.
And so the guy I bought the house from, he had a security company, and he was telling me how he had this house that he never went to, and I'm like, 17 acres in Broken Arrow? I have to buy it. He said it's not for sale. But I have to buy it. He sold it to me. So I had houses on both sides of the road because I had my finances together. And I'm telling you this because that's what this guy does. You want to keep your finances together so you're ready to go when opportunity presents itself. Don't wait until you need your finances. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the last part would be like the liquidity matters too. So the type of assets you have, if all your assets are illiquid, that does not look good for the bank too. But if you have liquid assets, sometimes you don't even need the bank's permission. There's other ways to borrow against the liquid assets.
I invest primarily in smoothies. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, next. Go this way.
What words should I use to train our staff for getting Google reviews from patients in a medical clinic while they're still in the office?
Yeah, and I'll be clear. So many people who have, anybody here have a medical business you're involved in? Probably a fourth of our portfolio is medical-related clients, okay? Anybody here working in a nonprofit? Nonprofit, anybody here? Anybody here do real estate? Anybody here? Hello, okay, great. So you gotta gather objective Google reviews, and no matter what industry you're in, it's not going to happen unless you ask. So the first step is you have to tell your staff, we're going to ask every single customer to leave us an objective review. We just have to ask that question. That has to be a cultural thing. You just have to ask, all right? And then second is I would highly recommend that you caffeinate and compensate your staff for those reviews. You go, hey, I'll put you on a constant diet of Red Bull only, and I'll pay you per review. Go get them. There's got to be some cultural shift that happens where you're going to get reviews and you're not going to not get reviews. Because sending someone a little QR code and texting them, it doesn't work. Putting up a little banner doesn't work. Emailing people. How many of you know that the average American has over 1,000 emails in their inbox right now? You can't email people saying, leave me a review. That doesn't make any sense. People aren't going to do it. Next question. Yeah.
When is the VIP dinner/lunch?
It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Today's the day of fasting. Today's the day of bitterness and just hunger and anger and hostility. And then tomorrow we eat like kings and queens. And okay, that's what it is. It's just how when you're working with the Secret Service, you got to be flexible. Next question.
I hear a lot about business structures of the successful using an LLC to own assets. Do you practice this sort of thing to minimize risk? And is there any tips a business structure that is successful to share to minimize tax liabilities?
I'm going to go with you on that one and let you answer that question, Josh.
Yeah.
And then as you answer that question, Sean, I want to answer all the AI questions at one time. So on our agenda, it has the AI. There's a video clip at the top. It's a Dropbox link under my stack of stuff, and we'll play the video, and then I'll answer the question. Okay, go for it.
I mean, I would say the first warning sign about any structure, if someone just recommends a structure off the cuff, usually they don't have enough information. So one of the ones that me and Clay kind of talk about a lot is sometimes they don't need any structure, they need some sales first. Go get a couple sales first before you start worrying about a giant structure. But then from there, it can be anything from, in our, do a free consult with Always Bookkeeping. They'll give you our top 10 tax tips. But something as basic as setting up an S-Corp so you can avoid the self-employment tax on some of your income, to as advanced as you're going to shift some of your profits offshore in an offshore jurisdiction. But anybody who points you into one of those without a significant fact-finding mission of what are your business streams of income and what all your assets and liabilities, they're kind of pointing you into the wrong direction.
Dave, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and Dave Whitey, get ready too, okay? And I'm going to be very vague. We'll just kind of have this vague. How many of you are aware of like certain shows that are trying to claim that a certain people group are in charge of everything, Dave? Are you aware of this, Dave?
I think so, possibly.
Dave Whitey, you hear about these certain shows that say a certain group of people, whoever they are in charge of everything?
The requirement is you have to have an accent if you do it. That seems to be one of the barriers of entry.
So how many of you know the Reawaken tour? We got sued. How many of you know about that? Mike Lindell got sued, I got sued, Giuliani got sued, and for added encouragement, we all lost. It was awesome. The book of Job is worse though. So we all lost. If you're ever feeling depressed, read Job and you'll go, I feel better by. Okay, so anyway, so we all lost, all of us lost. We all lost lots of money. It was an incredible way to, or we mutually settled for an amount that we all felt good about or something. But anyway, for various reasons. And so, we had to, we did the tour. We did it up to the election because I promised Eric and General Flynn I would do that. We all kind of lost in our own ways. And how many of you, when you've ever lost, like after you wanted to win, but you lost? You ever lost? You ever played a sport? You ever played high school football? You lost by 702 points and your girlfriend was there? Have you ever had like a loss, like just a kick in the crotch loss? Just, you ever had someone run over your dog and then the next day they run over your cat? Your house sets on fire and you vomit on your shoe. You ever had that kind of day? You ever had a day where your foot's wet all day because you step on water? You ever had the day where you have a soggy foot? So I was having kind of a soggy foot day, and General Flynn calls me and says, hey, we should get the band back together. And I'm going, oh, come on, no. And so I'm going, okay, I love General Flynn. So yes, sir, but I'm thinking, man, okay. So there's certain people, they keep saying certain people are in charge of everything. So we have to fund it. I have to fund it through LLCs and complicated, right, all that. You know what I'm talking about, mitigating risk? So the LLC that I chose to fund the event hosted by Sheridan Church is called Even More Shalom LLC. Someone will get that joke later in the car. You'll be like, why is that funny? So I'm just saying is these complicated strategies, eventually you have to do something. And at the end of the day, Dave, we look at the risk and people are going, you might get sued again if you do another one. You bring Lindell and Giuliani back, you guys are gonna get sued and you're gonna, but sometimes, Dave, you just gotta do it. What's your thought? I mean, after the lawyers have talked and the risk has been mitigated, you gotta just do it, right?
Well, we had to do that with January 6th. We were a huge target. We did Capital Punishment and The War on Truth with actor Nick Searcy. And we had to maneuver that way so that we went through an LLC because we knew they would come after us. And they certainly did, and they took it.
Next question. Another question up on the board?
We are on to just AI questions.
Okay, Sean, we got a video here. And the video, how many of you, we'll take a break after this video. How many of you are familiar with the 3 founders of AI? Let's write them down. Write them down, rebuke me, fight about it later. 3. 1, Bill Gates. Woo! I love Bill Gates. You know why I like Bill Gates? Because I like Epstein, and I like that he hung out with Epstein, and that's a hot deal for me, so I trust him. Come on, I trusted him with the shots. I trust him with my computer. I would let my kids hang out with Bill Gates because he hung out with Epstein. What a great guy. Woo! Woo! Yes, and so I will use AI for Jesus in the way that I will use a brothel to raise money for missions. Second founder, Sam Altman. Sam Altman is openly gay. He has said his goal is to cause a financial reset and to end capitalism. That's the second founder. First founder, Bill Gates, they said, what's your reason for this? He said, to solve the Tower of Babel problem. This is his answer. My answer, he said, is to solve the Tower of Babel problem. Who has seen him say this? Get ready, have fun with that. Then Sam Altman, he says, well, I want to cause a financial reset and end capitalism. Great. Third, I love taking pro tips from openly gay communists. That's my group. I trust those people. The third group, okay, is Elon Musk, who says that he started AI to summon the demon. Who has seen him say this? So I'm going to play you a little recap of these people, and then I'll answer my AI questions, and then we'll move on. But also, later tomorrow, I'll be teaching how you can start a brothel to raise money for Jesus. Both are perverse, both are crazy, but we'll talk about it later tomorrow. Okay, so here we go, hit play.
Which one do you want, Clay?
The one at the top, Dropbox.
Okay.
Yep, that one right there. And again, it's not me talking, you'll love it. If you hate me, you'll love this. Okay, here we go.
Ultimately, we can do a full brain-machine interface, meaning that we can, ultimately, yeah, this is going to sound pretty weird, but achieve a sort of symbiosis with artificial intelligence.
Could you imagine that one day we would be able to download our human brain capacity into a Optimus?
Yes. I think that is, I'm not saying this is, I think it is possible, I think, to do that. It is possible.
Which would be a different way of eternal life, because we would also download.
Okay, quick
operational
Bible quiz. Satan promised Eve what? Access to infinite knowledge and eternal life? But there's no parallel. Keep hitting play. No parallels. Just hitting play. Backing it up. Keep going. Hit play. Feeling the flow.
Yes, we could download the things that we believe make ourselves unique. Now, of course, if you're not in a body anymore, there's definitely going to be some difference there, you know. So, but as far as preserving our memories, our personality, if you will, I think we could do that.
In order to have better human AI symbiosis, we must solve the bandwidth problem. Below a certain bandwidth, we are basically just stationary to a computer. At 1 bit per second, you know, that's a very low data rate when computers are doing trillions of bits per second.
I think best case scenario, we effectively merge with AI, solve the data rate problem, then I think we can hang on to human-machine symbiosis through the long term. And then people may decide that they want to retain their biological self or not. I think they'll probably choose to retain their biological self.
Versus some sort of Ray Kurzweil scenario where they download themselves into a computer?
You will be essentially snapshotted into a computer at any time. If your biological self dies, you could probably just upload into a new unit. Literally.
Pass that whiskey. We're getting crazy over here.
The long-term aspiration for Neuralink would be to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence.
Pause. Okay, so his long-term aspiration is to achieve human-AI symbiosis, so merging man with machine. All right, that's his whole goal. Which, if you've read, who's never read Daniel chapter 2? Daniel chapter 2. It's mixing the miry clay with the iron, okay? So that's his long-term goal. So as it relates to AI, again, I told you, starting in 1999, what happened? Aladdin, the BlackRock created the Aladdin AI in 1999. So how many of you rode on a toll road today and disagreed with it? But you had to, right? So all I'm saying is we're kind of on this journey, right? God is the author of history, right? He's the beginning and the end. Are we on the same page? The beginning and the end. History is his story. The Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. And so we're on this path, and there is going to be choices you have to make, I have to make in the coming 5 minutes that are going to impact the future. And I want you to know the big agenda, and you can look it up, and then you can pray about it and rebuke me, but I really pray about it. I would pray about it, okay? So Bill Gates, scroll down real quick, Sean, back to our stack of stuff in our notes there, okay? Okay, point number 1, Sean, that's clip number 1. It's called the singularity. I think that's it right there. And, okay, this was Elon 2 days ago, and he said that we are approaching what's called the singularity. It's where we shift authority from man to machine. And then Jaron, who invented have you guys ever seen the Oculus? You mentioned the Oculus, the virtual reality thing? Yeah. The guy who invented that technology said this is the part when all humans will die unless they merge with the machine. And you'll watch him say this. It's called the singularity. And it was prophesied that in 2025, Alice Bailey, who's the founder of modern Luciferianism, Alice Bailey prophesied that America would usher in the golden age in 2025, which is the merger of man and machine. Who's ever studied the Nephilim? That's also referred to as the golden age. So I believe there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I want you to watch Elon Musk in his own words, and then you might say, do you guys serve beer? No, we don't serve beer. This is not, I'm just kidding. Okay, hit play here.
Because we're really headed into the singularity, as it's called, which, you know, they refer to AI sometimes as the kind of like a black hole, like a singularity. You don't know what happens after the event horizon. It doesn't mean that something bad happens, it just means you don't know what happens. I'm confident that if AI and robotics continue to advance, which they are advancing very rapidly, like I said, working will be optional, and people will have any goods and services that they want. If you can think of it, you can have it type of thing. But then at a certain point, AI will actually saturate on anything humans can think of.
And then at that point, it becomes a situation where AI and robotics are doing things for AI and robotics because they've run out of things to do to make the humans happy. Well, so the singularity is what.
What's the singularity?
That's the point where artificial intelligence exceeds human intelligence, and the reason it's called singularity, and I think Reiko as well coined that term, is because after that we don't know what's going to happen. What will happen? If you've got some sort of super smart computer that's increasing into intelligence in kind of a runaway fashion.
We might fast be approaching another future point of singularity in which our known world of meaning will simply collapse. Everything happening beyond that point is incomprehensible to us, and it's useless to try and imagine it or talk about it. Unless some nuclear or ecological catastrophe intervenes, the pace of technological development is so rapid that we will soon come to the point when Homo sapiens is replaced by completely different beings who possess not only different physiques, but also different cognitive and emotional abilities and experiences. This is something that most people, most sapiens, find extremely troublesome, extremely disconcerting. In all likelihood, our species is going to disappear.
But yeah, the advent of artificial general intelligence is called the singularity for a reason, because just like a black hole, which is a singularity, it's difficult to predict what will happen. So it's not as though the advent of AGI is necessarily bad, but it's bad as one of the possible outcomes.
And when is singularity in the definition of Ray Kurzweil going to happen?
Well, I think you were saying he's predicting 2025. I think that's reasonably accurate.
There'll be an apocalyptic event that ends everything we know. This is called the singularity. When the machines take over, the true believer can get immortality. The non-believer is consigned to death. That is approximately the theology.
Well, I think it'll actually be that people don't have to work at all.
Pause. Okay, so I'm giving you a lot of Bible verses. You might go, man, this guy. That's why I put up Say Them All for one time, because that was the most motivational highlight reel you're ever going to see. Okay, if you open your Bible to Revelation chapter 18 tonight, Revelation chapter 18, verse 21 through 23, the Bible prophesied there will come a time where humans will not work anymore. Who knows about this? Revelation 18, 21 through 23, where humans won't work anymore. It says all people will be deceived. How many of you know that? So I personally believe what's happening now is Revelation 18, verse 21 through 23. I believe that. You don't have to. Daniel chapter 2, the Bible prophesied there'll be a time called the fourth kingdom where man will mix with machine. Daniel chapter 2, I believe that's the fourth industrial revolution. So as for me and my family, we will not be merging with the machine. However, I'm the guy whose kids couldn't come to class because I wouldn't do the masks or the shots or the lockdowns or the whatever. So as it relates to you and what you want to do, we're going to have to ride down some toll roads on the way here. We might not agree with it. We're going to have to pay taxes we don't like. We're going to have to use the internet, which is largely controlled by technocrats that hate us. But we got to navigate that and use the Bible not as a rearview mirror, but as our compass. So switching focus just briefly, and then we'll take a break here. I want to ask everyone the same question. The Bible, Dave, doesn't change. No. We might disagree on my observations of AI or whatever, but why do you have to use the Bible as your compass and not a rear view mirror?
Because that's the only truth. He was in the beginning, is now, and always will be. That's the only truth.
So you guys, Karime, you're growing your business there. You got a daughter. She, was born yesterday. Things are going good. Hearing that kind of stuff could be concerning. But how do you process that within your household?
So I would say that it starts at home with each of us. Look around you. You have a family that God gave you. And I would say it seems overwhelming to see stuff like that and think that you need to go change the world when really it starts at home. I think God is bringing order into the home first, here and now. Husband and wives being reunited as they were intended to be under God. And the whole world is going this way, and it's gonna seem odd, but there's a small amount of people that are just walking not according to the world, so.
The Bible tells us the narrow gate is the path to heaven, the wide gate is the, so I'm just telling you, I'm not a genius, I'm very countercultural, but I can tell you when I heard that the models that said 2.2 million people would die, you remember that when the models, they said, the models said 2.2 million people would die from COVID, so we need to shut down. My initial thought was, if that is true, you can't temporarily suspend the Constitution, right? First Amendment. And Hebrews 10:25 tells us not to forsake the gathering even as we draw closer to the end, so I'm not shutting down. So that was my decision for not shutting down. I knew the models are false, the PCR tests are false, the treatments are real, but I used the Bible as a guidebook, not as something irrelevant that I might look at after I've made my decision. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense? That I look at it as my decision-making technology. That's where I go for the infinite intelligence. So are we on the same page? Okay. Stacy, I want to get your thoughts on this. Again, podcasts, more and more podcasts are being done completely by AI. More and more shows are entirely AI shows now. There's a lot of shows, more and more music. The top song in country right now is an AI song. You're doing a podcast. How do you perceive many conservative voices are no longer even recording their show? They're just using AI to record the whole thing. What's your thoughts?
Well, I go back to the Bible. You were talking about the Bible. You know, the Bible, yeah, it was written thousands of years ago, but it is the living word of God. That means it's alive today. It wasn't just for them that was written thousands of years ago. It is for today. So every decision comes through that. And I think that's really important. That's the foundation. And then prayer. Before every episode that we do, we pray. And truly, we've given everything we have in our life. Our hands are open. There's no fist closed. Our hands are open for the Lord, whatever he wants to do with what we're doing, whether it be money that's flowing with this wealth transfer that's coming. You know, it's like, okay, God, let the money flow through me and to your kingdom coming here to earth. But I think in the AI and our space, people are looking for something that is real. You know, obviously right now we're seeing AI, what's ended up happening with even country music and it being the top of the charts, you know, with AI. It's like, can't believe that is actually happening. But people are looking for things that are real. And so if we just continue doing what we are doing, be wise in that and ask God on a daily basis to guide and direct us, staying in the Word, he will show us the way.
Super Dave, AI, you know, we got questions up here. People want to know about AI. Again, by the way, if you're using Google, who used Google Maps to drive here today? It's AI. Who used Google at all this week? AI. Who invests with BlackRock? Someone doesn't want to probably volunteer that, but BlackRock, AI. S&P, who invests in the S&P? BlackRock, AI. So all of us are in some way have been using that technology for a long time. I have met more and more elected officials. This is kind of concerning. I've met a lot of elected officials the last 4 years, and many of them are now using AI to write the bills and to proof the bills, and they never even read the bills before signing the bills. So I met a very prominent conservative the other day who's telling me about this legislation, big old thing, and I'm going, I don't think you've read a 500-page bill, nor do I think you've ever read a 500-page book. I know you. And he's like, well, yeah, but we're using AI to edit the bill. I said, but to edit, did you write it? No, we did not write it or edit. So people are shifting their authority in every industry. Dave, how do you respond to that? What are your thoughts on, you know, staying human? Or maybe you don't want to stay human. I don't know.
You know, I think all of these technologies are probably good and used. Do you have a TV? Do you have a phone? Do you still know how to get somewhere without Google Map? I mean, we kind of accidentally become dependent on these things somewhat without even knowing it. It's like boiling a frog. It kind of happens, you know, slowly. But there's a clear intent from the beginning. Clay mentioned earlier, Garden of Eden, the lies stay the same and the times change. So Eve was offered, you can live forever. You know, you won't die. You will know everything. You'll be all-knowing. It was that same kind of a lie. So I think we're moving to a place where the same devil is going to try to have an opportunity to do what he's always wanted to do, which is he's God. There'll be a face of it, an antichrist, that'll be the Jesus model, and AI is clearly made to be the Holy Spirit. It's this all-knowing, invisible source of everything that you need to know. How do we navigate that day in, day out basis? How much of it do you want to get on you? You know, how much, you know, do you want to really write your wife a card versus AI? What should I say to my wife? You know, I mean, where do you start kind of losing your humanity in the process? I think these are all questions that no previous generations really had to grapple with that we do as we parent, as we ask questions, as we, determine what separates us. We're the first people that really had to navigate being fully human versus not, from injectables to, the environment around you. And these are all important decisions that we need to be processing on a regular basis, because that line has never been blurry, and now it really is.
27% of the Bible is prophetic. 27% of the Bible is prophetic. 73% of the Bible is historical. 73 is historical. I would recommend that you read Daniel chapter 2 tonight. Revelation chapter 13 tonight. And then Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 through 14. The Bible said that when the Euphrates River dries up, and it is, China and Russia will team up, and they are. Nations will gather against Israel, and they are. The beast technology will show up, and it is, right? It said these things will happen. And that weird kind of guy, that guy, he talks about this. He says, Yuval Noah Harari, you saw that guy in the video? He said, in the future, Homo sapiens are going to go away. And I kind of want to just slap him with a mic. That guy, that little weasel guy, Yuval Noah Harari, he's the top advisor for Obama, Zuckerberg, Gates, MIT, Stanford, Harvard, and he's currently the world's #1 best-selling author. And so that is the #1 author in the world. The guy says, Homo sapiens are going away. Homo sapiens, that guy. So these are not just irrelevant randos. That's Yuval Noah Harari. By the way, his name in Hebrew means the father of music, Yuval, Noah, as in the days of Noah. And then Harari means shall ascend to the mountaintop. And he's calling for rebuilding a third temple right now and to change our laws and our times. He's asking to change the laws, the times. He wants to ban the Bible. He wants to introduce one world religion. And he's referred to as the prophet by Obama, Zuckerberg, Gates, MIT. Just a little context for you. Sorchi, I know. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I want to kind of end my last spiel on kind of not a negative note.
Sure.
I think while we're here, in our focus on a daily basis, I have children, grandchildren. I operate on a daily basis where we took the David Green thing. We're thinking, I'm picturing a January 1st, 2276 of my descendants gathering around, and they're talking about principles we're setting in motion. We're setting wealth in motion. Now, will the world be around 2276? Will God come? Will we just, I don't know. But I have to think on a daily basis when we're making our to-do list, we're making our goals, that I'm actually making leather binders that my grandkids are gonna have as they turn 16 that are gonna be around 100 years after I die. I'm making them for them now. It's not even for them. Who knows if that'll even get there, but it affects how I think. How much money can we make? How much wealth can I accumulate? How can I be smart and not buying sports cars and I'm buying assets? I'm buying things that are gonna help them have autonomy from this system to be able to make wise, biblically based, conscience-based choices. A lot of people wouldn't have shut down if they could have afforded to not shut down, and so you're in this conference for a reason. You were excited about coming here for a reason. You're seeking out a coach for a reason. It's because we can create this space to be able to be like Dr. Stella, have a ranch, grow avocados, do your thing, but operate from this, creating wealth, thinking past your own lifetime in a way that makes sense.
Also, I 100% agree with him, and there's 3 ways people respond to this, because I have a podcast where only 265,000 people are allowed to subscribe. And on the podcast, what happens is there's 3 reactions I always get. There's one camp that's like, AI all the way. That's the future. Woo, woo, woo. I'm getting a booster shot. Booster tomorrow, booster today, booster next. I'm getting boosters every day. I love boosters. Boosters. They have shirts that say boosters. They quote Fauci. I love the boosters. I love the boosters. We got to get a booster. Booster. Bill Gates. Yes, Bill Gates. Epstein. Yes, bring it on. I like it. Yes, transhumanism. Elon Musk. Let's go. That's one group. It's exciting. That group. That's a fun group. Okay. The other group is going, man, that's why I moved into the woods 45 years ago. Man, I don't talk to people. I live in a bunker, and I'm prepared. I'm prepared for tornado, AI. I'm prepared for the Chinese, the communists, and they watch Red Dawn every single night. Well, kids, you want to watch Red Dawn tonight? The new one or the old one? Because the old one with Patrick Swayze, that was a legit, And they just live in that bunker. You know what I'm talking about? Bunker. And there's kids, now you got to learn to churn the butter. You know why? Because we're Amish, and we cheat a little bit, though. We do watch Red Dawn, but beyond that, we're Amish. How many of you know that? That's our group. Who knows that group? And then there's the other group who are kind of like flirting with either one. That's kind of where I'm at a lot of times. I'm like, I kind of want to go Amish, but then I kind of want to use the internet, but then I don't know. So I'm just asking you to use the Bible as something you pray through and you think about it and consult the Word of God. Don't listen to me. Just read the Bible. Meanwhile, Sorcini, you're selling gold, and buying gold is kind of betting against the U.S. dollar a little bit. Gold was $40 an ounce in 1971. Now it's how much an ounce, Andrew?
It's 4,200 an ounce right now.
How do you process what's going on? He sits at third base at the Dodger games next to Brad Pitt and Magic Johnson and Freddie Freeman's wife. This guy has a fantastic life, a great wife. He's Grand Slams at the World Series. He's there to see it. He's having a great time. But you sell gold. How do you process it?
For me, United States started their initial coinage and currency system gold-backed. So me selling gold, yes, does go against our fiat currency, but it actually reinforces the initial way that the currency was rolled out here in the United States back in like 1792. So I think that the whole world is going back to something that's asset-backed, and it's probably going to be gold.
Quick survey. Can I survey you guys in 4 questions? And when I do, I want you to answer the question, but don't group think, okay? You just yell out the answer. You just yell it out. Yep. I'm asking a question. You just yell it out, okay? So the first one is a yes or no question. Yes or no, okay? As soon as you get the answer in your mind, yell it out, okay? Do you buy gold and silver?
Yeah.
It's like a little more than half yes. Okay, good deal, okay. Now the next question is a gender question. A gender question, just a simple gender question. What gender is Michelle Obama? You guys are sick people. See, that's... Okay, NASA. NASA in Hebrew, it means to deceive, you know? The founder of NASA, von Braun, happened to be a Nazi scientist. Who knows that? The founder of NASA, von Braun, Nazi scientist. Who knows that? Von Braun, okay. By the way, Elon Musk is named after von Braun's prophecy of a man named Elon. By the way, that's how Elon was named. Elon's father has said Elon is named after a prophecy from a Nazi. That's a true story. So, did we go to the moon? Yes or no? Interesting crowd we have here, isn't it? So you guys, I love it because you're independent thinkers, right? You're independent thinkers. And so I'm not going to sit here and say you using AI is evil. Oh my gosh, you're terrible. Because I'm telling you, the internet's largely AI and has been for a long time, right? There's great technology. Over here in Randy's business, there's 3D modeling software that's been AI for over 10 years. 3D modeling software is AI. They've got, and now Randy, they're rolling out humanoid robots that will do the work for you.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Okay, all right. So Randy, talk to me about humanoid robots, outdoor living. Just let her rip. What are your thoughts?
Well, I was just sitting there thinking about when you guys were talking. Anybody remember Y2K? So, you know...
I'm prepared for that, by the way.
It was the end of the world, and we're not going to make it, and all that stuff, and, you know, we're freaking out and all that. And then nothing happens. And, you know, the truth is like life has to go on. Like the grind still has to go on. Now here are 25 years later, and if you put all of your stock into that and just sold everything, did all that, like... you would be behind the 8 ball right now.
There
so, like AI, you have to embrace it.
Yep.
And the only people that will be left behind is the people that refuse to use it. Now, be careful with it. You know, don't make it everything and don't just sell out. But be ready. I mean, I believe in the rapture and the tribulation. And the best thing that we could do right now is just all be ready and put God first. And utilize AI for automations and simple things, but you don't have to sell out for AI.
We optimize every client's website for AI compliance. I don't know if people know that. We optimize every one of our clients' websites for AI compliance, and we've done that for over a year. I don't know that that's exciting for people to know or not. I'm just making sure you know if you're using the S&P, it's largely AI. If you drove on Google Maps, it's largely AI. And I'm just trying to make sure we're getting this idea. I wanted to show you the big agenda. The big agenda, so you saw these people in their own words. But I also want to give you a sense of hope, and I don't want you to feel like you're leaving a Bob Dylan concert confused and partially high. Okay? So I want you to have clarity. So again, go to the Bible. It's Revelation chapter 16. You can find it there, okay? Daniel chapter 2, you can find it there. Revelation chapter 13. And then there's 3 final parts of the Bible I want to direct you to. Then I'll go to Spurl, and then we'll kind of take a little break here. Okay, Mark chapter 13. That's Jesus' final sermon, kind of a big deal. How many know about Jesus? Kind of essential to the Christian faith? A lot of people are like, I love Jesus, Woo! And I go, that's great. Have you read Mark 13? No. Why not? Why? Well, I'm busy. I got Netflix. I got to watch Game of Thrones. They got a lot. Got to get caught up on that. There's NFL. I like the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers is still slinging it in his mid-40s, and he's doing great. I got to watch his new team now, and Brett Favre, he's making announcements about Trump. I got to go see what he's up to, and then there's a scrolling video on Instagram I got to see, and then I got text messages from my mother-in-law that she hasn't seen, but she wants me to see, and then my father-in-law is sending me. How many of you get extended family sending you videos saying you have to watch it, and they haven't watched it? Have you seen this? So there's a lot of that going on, okay? So I get it, but I'm asking you to settle your mind and read Mark chapter 13, Luke chapter 21, and Matthew 24, because Jesus tells us how it's going to all end, not me, Jesus. Mark chapter 13, Matthew 24, Luke 21. And if you read it, you'll know what Jesus has to say. That being said, Sperl, you're doing accounting. We got to keep doing accounting. Whether we get raptured or not, we'll get good at settling that debate here soon, maybe tomorrow. What are your thoughts? How do you prepare your clients for AI, universal basic income? How do you prepare your clients? Or do you prepare your clients?
I mean, like, we use AI in our business. Like,
you're sick. Sell out.
AI is like, it's like me having an unlimited amount of junior accountants who can go do research for me. That's what it's like. But it returns the most popular answer, not the right answer. And so it's like the really opportunity for the critical thinkers, because, 80% of the assets are controlled by the top 20%. So if you do what the 80% does, you're going to end up poor. So there's a whole bunch of opportunities there for the critical thinkers where you can gain that low-level understanding from the AI, but then your job as a business owner is, how do you expand on that? How do you think critically on that, right? If I listen to the AI, it'd be okay for me to put 40% of my clients' wealth in bonds, earning 4% while the US government prints 8% new money every year, which is insane. But that's what the AI would return to me, and it would do so with a really good vocabulary. So our job is to elevate above that as business owners, and that's what the real opportunity is going to be, because most people will just follow the crowd.
So question, here we go, question. Can you read the top right question there, Sperl, the top right one, AI? Here we go, going for it, filling the flow.
CSIS warns AI chips rely on Chinese gallium and germanium. What supplier standards should I use to source AI electronics from the USA?
You guys know that Elon Musk is America's largest defense contractor, right? Do we know this? And he's also a massively connected person to the Chinese economy. You know this? Elon Musk does business with China and America. You know the guy who has 30,000 low orbit satellites in space is Elon Musk. He's our top contractor and theirs. So I think at the end of the day, you're going to find there's a little bit more of an inability to separate these countries from each other over time. I think it's becoming, how many of you know the Bible talks about a one world government where all the countries come together? It's real, if you wanted to buy American, it's really hard. Laura Trump's new clothing line, all of it is made in America, but that's rare to find. I think my tie's made in Vietnam, my shoes probably made in Cambodia. Everything I'm wearing today is probably made by AI and some Vietnamese sweatshop people, It's, I don't know. So you can't really separate from the globalist economy a whole lot. What's the next question?
AI impact on search. What do we do?
Yeah, VISM. You got to do that. You got to embrace it. Okay. Don't just leave here going Google reviews. No, videos, images, search engine, more Google reviews. Video reviews or video content, images, search engine content, more Google reviews. That's how it works. Next one. Yep.
How to prep for AI and advanced AI regulation in California and New York. Compliance by July 2027.
Doug, you're going to deal with that all day, every day. It was like when COVID, the mandates rolled out. Doug, come up here real quick if you can. This is Doug Mahaffey. He's an attorney. Don't boo. Let's cheer for him. He's a good guy. Don't boo. Attorney, I hate that guy. Our next guest is a blood-sucking attorney from the great state. He's a great guy. So, Doug, when COVID, all the mandates rolled out in California, you had to take the shot or you lose your job, had to wear the mask. You were there. Are you helping people deal with the AI litigation stuff right now? Are you dealing with that?
Well, I think what you're seeing is the movement where people are questioning it. And I like the comment that you just heard, which is that God says you're supposed to use the talents he built in you, right? So this is knitting you in the wound stuff, right? You're built for a purpose. If you're delegating that, if you're trying to use something that God didn't teach you and you developed from his purpose, then what you're doing is you're blaspheming his cause in you, right? You're choosing not to use your God-given gifts. So I think the Christian has to have a check in their spirit. On the business side, I think what you're seeing is we're having to disclose now in California, I think this will become an ethical mandate, that we have to tell our clients, hey, we may use AI to dissect your case. We may use AI to do legal research. Well, why? Why would you have that warning? Because the bar ethics have already decided, look, this is delegating what lawyers, and this would be true for doctors, architects, builders, contractors. You go across the industries, if you're delegating what you had to stay up late and learn the hard way, if you're not dissecting their problem because you're going to delegate this to a machine, I think your client may want to know that.
Now, Doug, real quick, just to harass you, just because this is what I do. This way, I mix it up and we go to break, okay? So AI, I'm just going to show you some facts related to AI. And related to the Reawaken Tour, one famous guest, whoever he is, he used AI to write some of his arguments, and it turned out AI lied. So he lost, and then the case, it turned out that all the citations were wrong. So I'm giving you facts here. Sean, slow down a little bit here. Scroll up real quick here. Up, and okay, down, number 6. This is from Fortune, not a conspiracy magazine. It says 96% AI models are showing a 96% blackmail rate. So if you use AI and then stop trying to use AI, it's been shown to blackmail people. That's Fortune magazine. Perhaps that's interesting to you. Perhaps it's not. Next one. Okay. Then we've got AI. Okay, keep that next one down. One more here. This is fun. Time magazine reports that AI now lies to people all the time. Who knows about this? So all I can say is Doug's navigating it. I'm navigating it. We're all navigating it. But if you need a guy who trusts, and I'd recommend you work with people that fear God first and nothing else. And that's why I bring up Doug, because he's navigating this, we all are, real time, but he actually believes in the Bible. So I think Doug is a source of wisdom on this. But Doug, it's an uncharted territory, correct? I mean, it's a little crazy.
It is, and I think you need to be cautious. I think that's the number one thing you want to remember is that AI wants to please you. Remember, the models have changed, where the OpenAI used to tell you what you were shopping for and you started getting ads. Now it tries to figure you out. And it realizes that if you're leaning conservative, it's going to give you conservative values. It does that in our legal research. I'll be seeking an answer, and I'll check what we call co-counsel, which is built into our Westlaw. It's given me an answer that would be wonderful if that was true, but I'm going, wait a second. I got 40 years in this business. That doesn't seem quite right to me. It'd be nice. So I dig in the hard way, go back to the cases and read the law. So you got to ask yourself, am I violating my ethical duty to my clients and my customers because I'm not digging this out to know it's true? Now, if you test your models and you have data that's controlled and they're building these learning language models around your company's data so that you know the questions you're asking are getting answers that you can rely on, okay, then you've used a useful tool. But that's a long process that you've got to outsource to a company that does that. So be very cautious. The litigation's going to flow because people look for any reason to sue you, and if they can find out that you used AI, didn't disclose that, remember, lawyers are having to disclose that, so it's a red flag. If you're doing that, just remember, they're going to find a reason to say, well, wait a second, I hired you to design this, and you used AI, I didn't consent to that. That's a breach of contract, I'm not going to pay you. So I think that's where you're going to see the avenues real quickly.
Final question on AI, then we're taking our break. Final question, what do you got?
How are you, Clay, changing your strategies to not only adopt AI, but to the changing habits, preferences, and behavior of the next generation?
Again, I don't know. I've walked you through that earlier, but I'll get into it. When I was a disc jockey, who remembers the Yellow Pages? That was awesome. Who remembers the Yellow Pages? I was the Yellow Page king, baby. Had the biggest ad ever. Who remembers the Yellow Pages? I mean, who was there? Yes. And then the Yellow Pages went away, so I had to dominate Google, right? And then YouTube came about, and I had to dominate that. There's constant changes, so I could just say you constantly have to adapt. You just have to adapt. So how do we adapt? Very practically, our team uses all these Adobe products, Photoshop, Lightroom, videography, video technology. All of it's AI. You know that, right? All the Adobe suites, it's AI, everything. So we've had to learn all of that. All the websites have to be updated for AI compliance. More and more people struggle to have a conversation. How many of you have seen that phenomenon? More and more people, we're about ready to see self-driving cars that don't have steering wheels. So we're gonna be all navigating a weird world here, but we're all in it together. And I would recommend that you read the Bible till your head explodes. The time is 3:20. We'll come back here at 3:40 for our final session. The time is 3:20, and I encourage you to go visit Pastor Dave. Let's hear for Pastor Dave Scarlett right there. Thank you, Dave. That's Karime. She's here. The Flyover Conservatives, Andrew Sorcini in the house. Randy Antrikin was right here. This is Doug Mahaffey. That's Josh Sproul right there. And we'll come back after the break at 3:40 for our final session of the day. Final session at 3:40. Final session at 3:40. Hopefully that covered all the AI you wanted to talk about for the rest of your life, or at least for the rest of today. So we'll come back here at 3:40.
Thrivetime show, that's where you wanna be. That's where you wanna be. Thrivetime show, that's where you wanna be. Yeah. Business growth is what you wanna see. What you wanna see. Thrivetime show, that's where you wanna be. Where you wanna be, yeah. If you got the big goals to achieve it, you got to achieve it. For entrepreneurs, it's a paradise. For employees, it's a change paradigm. For the poor and ignored, it's a change mind. For the explorers, it's a major find. For Tim Tebow, it's goals aligned. For the Eric to the Trump, it's a mastermind. For Robert Kiyosaki, it's game time. For the first time attendees, it's oh my. For the Oklahomies, it's a sweet home of mine. For the real business people, it's so nice. For the people going places, it's a green light. For you and your crew, it's a change vibe. For this rendezvous, you can name your prize. For the VIP, ticks 105 times. For me, it's what I do, it's my vibe. Because the Thrivetime Nation is my tribe. My tribe. Thrivetime show, that's where you wanna be. Yeah. Business growth is what you wanna see. What you wanna see. Thrivetime show, that's where you wanna be. Where you wanna be, yeah. If you got the big goals to achieve, you got to achieve it. It's time to thrive, what a time to be alive. Breath in my lungs, thank you Jesus Christ. You got a chance, look, I'll change upon the list. So beat that clock by your diligence. It's up to you, do you prefer to keep making the wrong turns, or to turn it all around after you take the time to learn? Without vision, the people perish. Like wisdom, you get embarrassed. Or be humble, grow 1,000-fold. Leap a harvest and share it. Can we kick it? Yes, we can. If you come with business problems, you leave with plans. At the Thrivetime Show, we make wealth expand. And we're focused on implementation. We teach marketing and improving your brand. How to build the systems and finance. We teach how to hire people and manage them. How to bring your dreams into reality. Since 05, I've been doing it, cause that's my jam. Helping goal pursuers do it, putting cash in their hands. Now that Eric Trump has joined us, he has joined the band. Kiyosaki's coming too, cause he's in the rhythm. But can he kick it? Yes, he can. Kiyosaki's in the dojo of self-discipline. So get your tickets now at Thrivetime Show End. I'd buy them now while they're still on hand. Thrivetime Show, that's where you wanna be. Yeah. Business growth is what you wanna see. What you wanna see. Thrivetime Show, that's where you wanna be. Where you wanna be, yeah. If you got the big goals to achieve, you got to achieve it. Thrivetime Show, that's where you wanna be. Yeah. Business growth is what you wanna see. What you wanna see. Thrivetime Show, that's where you wanna be. Where you wanna be, yeah. If you got the big goals to achieve, you got to achieve it.